Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to speak to you about something that does not begin in the mirror, it begins in the mind. Self. Confidence is not the result of how others see you, it is born from how you understand yourself. Confidence is not a product of applause. It is a product of awareness. Awareness of your purpose, your value, your potential, and your divine design. You see, the greatest tragedy in life is not death.
The greatest tragedy is to live without knowing who you truly are. Because if you do not know who you are, you will live trying to be what others want you to be. And nothing kills confidence faster than comparison.
You were not born to imitate. You were born to initiate. You were not designed to follow the pattern of another man's shadow. You were crafted to cast your own. But that level of confidence can only come when you discover that you are not a mistake, not a copy, not a leftover. You are original, you are intentional, and you were placed on this earth with something to deliver that no one else can. Self-confidence begins with self-awareness, not public approval. Most people believe that confidence comes from how others treat them, how many compliments they receive, or how much validation they get from the world around them. But the truth is, real confidence is not something that can be handed to you from the outside. It must be built from within. It begins the moment you understand who you are, your design, your purpose, your value. When you become aware of what you carry inside, you no longer depend on the applause of others to feel significant. You no longer need someone to say you're worthy before you act. Self-awareness is the foundation on which lasting confidence stands. A person who knows themselves will walk into a room without needing attention, because their presence is not dependent on popularity. They are grounded in the knowledge that they belong, not because others allow it, but because they were born with purpose. When you know who you are, you don't need to pretend to be what you're not. You don't need to impress anyone to feel important. Self-awareness gives you clarity. It tells you what you're good at, what you're called to do, and where your energy should go. It keeps you from wasting time chasing approval from people who don't even understand your assignment. Public opinion is unstable. People celebrate you today and ignore you tomorrow. If your confidence is built on their approval, it will rise and fall like the wind. But self-awareness anchors you. It reminds you of your value even when you're overlooked. It gives you strength to keep moving even when you're misunderstood. When you know yourself, your confidence is no longer fragile. It becomes a steady force that doesn't shake every time someone disapproves or misunderstands your worth. You were born original. Stop living like a copy. Every human being is designed with a unique fingerprint, a symbol that there is no one else exactly like you on the planet. This is not just biology. It's a message from your Creator that you were never meant to imitate someone else's identity. Yet so many people spend their lives mimicking others, comparing their paths, and adjusting their decisions based on trends, opinions, and societal expectations. They dress like others, talk like others, dream like others, and in the process, lose their true selves. The tragedy is not that they fail, it's that they never truly lived as themselves. Originality is your greatest asset. The world does not need another version of someone else. It needs the authentic expression of who you are. Your ideas, your style, your voice, your perspective. These are gifts the world has never seen before and will never see again. When you try to be someone else, you suffocate your own potential. You trade your divine blueprint for a borrowed identity. And the problem with imitation is that it always keeps you one step behind the original. Living like a copy is a form of self-betrayal. It says, I am not enough as I am, so I must become someone else. But confidence begins when you accept that your uniqueness is not a flaw, it's a feature. What makes you different is what makes you valuable. Your assignment on this earth requires that you be fully you, not a diluted version of someone else. The moment you embrace your originality, you tap into a source of boldness and clarity that cannot be manufactured. Because confidence is not just about believing in yourself. It's about believing that who you are was never a mistake. True confidence is quiet, rooted in identity and purpose. It does not need noise to prove itself, nor does it require constant recognition to feel real. Confidence that is loud and boastful is often a mask worn to hide insecurity. But the kind of confidence that transforms lives comes from a deep understanding of who you are and why you exist. When a person knows their purpose, they don't need to announce their presence. They let their purpose speak through their actions. They move with calm assurance, not because they know everything, but because they are certain of who they are and what they are called to do. A person who is truly confident does not feel threatened by the success of others. They celebrate it because they understand that purpose is not a competition. Their sense of worth is not attached to external comparisons, but to internal conviction. They are not racing anyone. They are walking steadily on the path marked out for them. They do not shrink when others shine, because they know light is not limited. They do not exaggerate their achievements, because they know that value is not proven by volume, but by authenticity.
Quiet confidence is not passive. It is powerful. It allows you to stand firm even when the world doubts you. It gives you strength to persist without needing constant encouragement. It keeps you from chasing applause and keeps you focused on the assignment.
This kind of confidence is unshakable because it is built on the solid ground of identity. You are not trying to become something. You are simply expressing what you were born with. And when you move from this place of purpose, your confidence becomes steady, strong, and unbreakable because it is no longer tied to performance or popularity. Confidence is built through preparation, discipline, and action. Many people want to feel confident before they step out, before they speak, before they take the risk. But the truth is, confidence does not come first. It follows effort. When you prepare, you silence fear. When you discipline yourself, you build inner strength. When you take action, even in uncertainty, you train your mind to believe that progress is possible. Confidence grows every time you show up and do what you committed to do. Even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's difficult, even when you're not sure of the outcome, preparation gives you a foundation to stand on. It removes the excuses and replaces them with readiness. The more prepared you are, the less room fear has to operate. It doesn't mean you eliminate all doubt, but it means you are ready enough to move forward anyway. Discipline, on the other hand, trains your character. It creates consistency where emotion wants to create chaos. Confidence is not built in a day. It is built daily. It is built when you wake up early, when you study, when you practice, when you sacrifice temporary comfort for long-term growth. Action seals what preparation and discipline have formed. You can be ready, you can be trained, but if you never move, confidence never takes root. The more you act, the more you realize that fear is often an illusion. Every step you take in the direction of your purpose adds a layer to your confidence. You begin to see results not just in outcomes, but in how you feel about yourself. You stop second guessing and start trusting. Because you've seen what happens when you commit, when you follow through, when you stand in the place of responsibility instead of hiding behind hesitation. Your condition is not your conclusion. Own your future. Too many people confuse where they are with who they are. They allow temporary circumstances to define their permanent identity. But confidence begins when you understand that your current situation is just a chapter, not the whole story. Where you were born, how you were raised, what you've been through, none of it has the power to limit what you can become unless you let it. The most powerful people in the world are not those who had the best start, but those who made a decision to rise regardless of their beginning. Your condition might include pain, failure, rejection, or lack. But none of these things define you unless you wear them as labels. Confidence begins when you stop seeing yourself through the lens of struggle and start seeing yourself through the lens of purpose. You were not created to be trapped by your environment. You were created to change it, and the only way to step into that authority is to reject the lie that your past has the final word on your future. Every successful person you admire had to overcome something. They didn't wait for conditions to be perfect. They decided that what was in them was greater than what was around them. Confidence doesn't wait for external permission. It is born the moment you say, "This is not the end of me." When you own your future, you stop blaming and start building. You stop complaining and start creating. You stop repeating your history and start writing your destiny. The power to change your life doesn't come from your background. It comes from your belief. And once you believe that where you are is not who you are, you become unstoppable in your pursuit of purpose. Live from the inside out. Real confidence flows from within.
The mistake most people make is trying to fix their lives by adjusting the outside while ignoring what's happening on the inside. They chase titles, appearances, opinions, and validation, hoping that these things will produce the confidence they're missing. But external achievements can never fix an internal identity crisis. Confidence that lasts is born from a deep connection to who you truly are.
It starts when you know your source, your design, and your assignment. When you live from the inside out, you are not controlled by trends, opinions, or pressures. You make decisions based on conviction, not convenience. You operate from principle, not popularity. There is a clarity that comes when you know yourself from the inside, your values, your beliefs, your purpose, and with that clarity comes strength. You don't bend just because the crowd is moving. You don't shrink just because the noise is loud. You stand because you know the ground you're standing on. Living from the inside out means yourself. Worth is not tied to how others treat you, how many likes you get, or how flawless your image appears. It means you've done the inner work to know that your value is already settled. You're not trying to earn it. You're walking in it. And because of that, you can walk into any room without needing to prove anything. You can lead without fear, speak without shame, and grow without comparison. Real confidence is not built on what's temporary or changing. It is anchored in what's eternal, what's unshakable, what's true. And that truth can only be found inside, in the quiet place where your identity is rooted. Your purpose is revealed and your strength is renewed.